there came a moment when I realized I cannot go back anymore into the corporate world and I'm needed somewhere else. I resisted as much as I could. And then I said, okay, I'm stepping fully into the coaching journey. And it's a mindset shift to go into fully in, to be all in, like in poker, right? You have to be all in and say, okay, now I'm a professional coach. From now on, this is my business. And it's almost not even burning the bridges behind, but in a way, it's almost like, the old conquerors of the world, they would go with their big vessels. I think the story goes, even Columbus did that when they reached South America. They burned their boats because they said, okay, there's no way back.
Hello, and welcome to Business Expansion Tips with me, Kanika Vasudeva, your host. And today I have a lovely guest with me. She is a friend of mine. We did our MBA program together. Now she is an executive and awakened leadership coach. And she guides leaders through transformative inner work that turns burnt out into a gateway for authentic leadership. And that's why I really wanted to have Carmen today, because I want to understand, how does spiritual awareness and emotional mastery, how does that work in the corporate world? How do you really reconnect these high functioning clients into their true purpose, into a balanced lifestyle? How do you start the conversation with them, Carmen?
First of all, Kanika, it's such an honor and a pleasure to be here with you today. It's amazing that we reconnected as well, and we are doing this together. And thank you from the bottom of my heart.
The
So
pleasure is
now,
mine.
great. Now to come to your questions. I think every person has an individual journey. Every person goes through their different paths in life, and I meet with people. I have a lot of conversations, and when they feel that it's a safe container, filled with trust and love and kindness, they open up about their challenges in the workplace. That's usually how the conversation starts. What I learn is that it's never only about the workplace. There's more that meets the eye. And usually there is a disalignment somewhere in the heart. There's no connection between the intellectual mind and the intelligence of the heart, and sometimes the intelligence of the gut. We kind of block and we disconnect about here, and we try to live only in the higher part of the body. When I sense that, sometimes I sense it energetically. Sometimes people start to mention certain things they are going through, and I ask questions. This is what I do. I ask questions, and I try to understand with curiosity and love what is happening in their life. And sometimes, yeah, they start to realize themselves there is a disconnect. It's not a coherence between the heart and the mind. Maybe they've lost the higher purpose they started with when they joined that particular journey. Very slowly they start to desire a different kind of connection, a different kind of presence at work. So yeah, it's a slow process. I really like to bring people back to their heart. I say to reconnect with their heart. And from that place of connection, they see the world in a different way. They start to connect with other people in a different way. They lead differently. Decisions are made with higher purpose in mind. And somehow business thrives from a different energy, from a different divine source, I would say.
It's beautiful. I love the work that you are doing. I think back of the time when I started this journey, because I really think of all these high functioning people, and you and I can both relate to it. We are from a good business school, and we've been trained to be very ambitious, to really look at the results we are getting, meaning what is the company you're employed at, what rank do you have, what salary do you have, the outside measures measured by your these things, and then perhaps your kids, what are they doing, what schools are they going to, etc., etc. The list goes on. And I remember myself at one of those times, mid 30s, I was achieving, doing well on the checklist that I was supposed to tick off, and yet inside I wasn't feeling good. For me, it was for me it was a forced path to come to energy healing because I lost my daughter and I literally had to be woken up. And I tend to look back at that and go, well, that was such a fortunate mishappening for me. So I'm really glad that you are bringing this for people who are seemingly either dealing with challenges in their workplace, but they're also achieving a lot of things and they are marking their happiness with that outside success, but it's still creating a disconnect inside. So, yesterday I was watching a video. Alex Harmozy was being coached by Tony Robbins. So, now for those who don't know Alex Harmozy, he talks about sales in a very aligned way. He's written heaps of books, and Tony Robbins, he's supposed to be one of the best coaches in the world. So I was looking at their conversation. One of the things that Alex mentioned was that he has done so much. He's helped so many people have profitable lives, be really financially abundant. And still at the pinnacle, he's also went out, helped some charities, and still there, now he feels empty. He's like, okay, what next? What do I do? The advice Tony Robbins had for him was that he had to go and he had to connect back to his heart. What was inside? What was his bigger driver? What was the bigger why? Because after some time, all the fancy toys, they lose their shine. All the other stuff, it loses its pristine value that it had. The new car, the new house, the vacation, the value that you have in your bank, all of that loses the charm. And then what's left is what is the meaning? What is the impact that you're bringing up? So I believe you are doing a fundamentally important job bringing this to the major corporates. And you're helping these leaders build workplaces that are more centered around the heart. Are you finding that shift within these organizations? That when the leader changes and endorsed a more conscious leadership model, that somehow their productivity is changing? How is the workplace changing for them?
I thank you for mentioning what you said, because I've been through that shift myself. As you know as well, I went through my own burnout and depression story, and I was able to see exactly from that perspective of when everything looks great and beautiful from the outside, but the inside is not in balance. There's no happiness, there's no joy of life, and you feel like you are doing the work on the outside, but on the inside, you don't give yourself attention to even connect with the heart and listen to the voice of the heart. So that's where my energy and drive comes from. When I meet with these leaders, they are in a very similar place I was, either burnout or maybe on the verge of a burnout. And you were asking what's the impact on the businesses. First of all, what happens is that the leader starts to work on themselves and give themselves that care. They don't end up leaving the workplace. That's a big loss for the company, but it's also a big loss for the person, because of the big disconnect from the work and the feeling that you are not good anymore, you are not able to succeed, you are not able to hold or block your emotions anymore, and everything kind of came up. So that's a big plus already for the company. They are able to retain high performers who are on the verge of a burnout, and giving them the connection back into what's the next chapter of the company. Then the leaders return or they are still at work, but in parallel, they're doing the work with me. And when they go to work with a different energy, with a different presence, they give permission to their leadership teams to become more real, more authentic, because they become more authentic. And making space for emotion in the workplace, it's a huge benefit. We have been educated to hide emotions. We put these masks on and we look nice, we smile, fake smiles, and we say we are okay when we are not okay. But when you are asking somebody, how are you feeling? And to receive a real answer from someone to say, right now, I'm feeling very frustrated. Something is going in my personal life and is affecting my productivity at work. When a leader is able to ask that question and the person to answer honestly, the level of connection, the level of trust that is created, the communication that is brought to a different level, the level of the heart, it's impossible not to impact the bottom line. We talk about we want more trust and better communication in leaderships teams, or throughout the company. But it comes with that authenticity. It comes with that human element that we try to keep away from the workplace, unfortunately. So yes, you see it in the way people work with each other. You see it in the care they have for the other person alongside of them. You see these leaders starting to have the courage to lead the same way at the next level in the organization, and it's kind of trickles down. This is the most beautiful thing that I see. Culture changes, and culture changes from the top. It's the responsibility of the leader at the top to start being themselves differently, to show up differently, to listen more careful, to really care, and then give permission to the others to do the same. In organizations where it's very competitive and it's all only about the money and the results and the pressure, and we don't make space for being human and being authentic, it's really difficult to reach this kind of results. And what happens is people burn out, people leave. It's very difficult to retain them or attract them in those organizations. Many people start to call it toxic. It's a toxic environment. And slowly, of course, you see the results in the bottom line. You cannot be driven only from the numbers. You have to find the balance between the business and the heart. That's the job that I do.
Beautiful. Love that. So, Carmen, your own story, you started just like me from the MBA school, and you had your corporate trajectory. And then, after some time, you decided to be a coach. How was it moving from a corporate job to a coaching business, stepping up, showing up as yourself? Like, this is the true, authentic me. How was that journey? What was your mindset shift that happened in those first few years?
Well, at the beginning, I didn't even know I wanted to be a coach. I was in the middle of the burnout and the healing process. And I always say coaching found me. It was a calling because I was looking for answers. I tried to understand what happened to me. I was a high performer. I was an executive director. I had a young family. I was the only woman on the board, under 40s, with small children at the same time. I was feeling I was on the wave. Everything looked really, really good from the outside, right? I was in Roche, a very big and reputable company, and I felt a lot of eyes were on me to perform, to grow the business, to do well. And suddenly, when the burnout came, to me, it felt like a surprise. Yet my body was giving me signs for a very, very long time that things are not going well. I'm not in alignment. But like many leaders, I was very successful at keeping it all down, quiet, pretending and pretending, until the body said, no more, we need to take a break. It was a moment that came like a tide wave over me. I lost completely all my grounding and all the things that I thought were, what I thought it was up, it was down. So my world turned upside down completely. And in that process of healing, discovering, searching for answers, coaching found me. I did my coaching education, and starting to practice with people, I recognized that was the part of the job that I was doing before in the corporate world that I enjoyed the most. I was always, even without a lot of education, I was coaching my team. I was organizing lots of different events for us to connect, to gain trust, to have better communication, to find ways of leading in a different way, more conscious way. But I did not realize it. It was kind of like a side interest for me. And yeah, it took me about 2 years after or actually, no, I was still hoping I'll go back into the corporate world when I received almost like a download of information that said, you are needed somewhere else. Your skills, your knowledge, your experience is needed in a different place. And I resisted it very much because it's very scary to leave the comfort of such a position that I created, like you said, all the image that I built, all the education and the money that I invested in throughout my
Oh, we are
career.
both the same in that. Yeah, totally
Yeah.
relatable. Before we continue, I want to pause for a moment because so many of you who are listening to this podcast are building something really meaningful. And a lot of times, what stands between you and steady sales is simply an energetic or a messaging block. And once that is removed, then sales can start coming in. So, if you want to understand what's really going underneath your sales patterns, then book a free energetic sales audit with me at artoflifecenter.com/sales, and we'll identify what's holding you back and some of the shifts that you can make to earn more income and attract aligned clients.
So I realized there came a moment when I realized I cannot go back anymore into the corporate world and I'm needed somewhere else. I resisted as much as I could, and then I said, okay, I'm stepping fully into the coaching journey. And I think that I even read a book at that time, and I will look for it and share it with you later. I think it's called Going Pro. I can remember the author right now, but maybe this is a good book for our audience to read if they desire to change a side hustle into a fully professional coaching career, because it's a mindset shift to go into fully in, to be all in, like in poker, right? You have to be all in and say, okay, now I'm a professional coach. From now on, this is my business. And it's almost not even burning the bridges behind, but in a way, it's almost like, the old conquerors of the world, they would go with their big vessels. I think the story goes even Columbus did that when they reached South America. They burned their boats because they said, okay, there's no way back. And that it's a big shift, at least in my case, was when I said, okay, I'm leaving fully the corporate world and I'm stepping into coaching. And of course, the journey continues from there. There are many other shifts that come along, but having the focus on something that you really love. I believe that where attention goes, everything grows. So if the focus is there, we put our full attention on something, then we give it the energy and the love to grow it.
I think well said. I always tell my clients that if you have diverted your energy, like you're saying, maybe this or maybe that, like at the minimum, if you're just doing this, you've already split your energy into two. Universe or energy is really confused. Like, what should it fuel right now? Which part of you needs more energy right now as you've halved it, even with that decision? So it's good to burn the boats and the ships and all that past thing and not have a plan B and just have plan A. Because money, energy, clarity, momentum, They're all part of the same equation. When you are really clear, this is where I want to go, you find your way. Otherwise, it's more like being at a train station and going, okay, maybe I'll take that train, maybe I'll take that train, maybe I'll go here. And you end up going nowhere because you don't know where it is that you're going. So that's kind of your maybe first few months. And what happened after that? So once Carmen's fully landed into her coaching business, how was it working out then?
Well, after that, it was very interesting because I received guidance from friends to connect with a dear friend of mine, with whom later on we became partners in her business in Adapta, which is a boutique coaching firm in London. And my dear friend Alina, I reached out to her just to share my own journey, and because I could see that she was doing a very similar work with mine. Um, and I felt this urge to not be doing to be alone on this journey. I felt really important to find like-minded people with whom to collaborate, and that conversation that somebody connected us to say, okay, I think the two of you should talk, turned into a 6-year partnership. We also had Tatiana, who joined us, and Sylvia at one point was also part of us. So we had um, a team of 4 principal coaches. We've done amazing work together. We did coaching programs for corporate retreats, online, working online with executive women. It's been really a fantastic journey. And in the whole process, we were all still doing our one-to-one coaching journey. So it's been a fantastic 6 years together. And then another chapter of my life just recently opened, as I recognized that my work is taking me deeper on the spiritual path, on the energy work we've talked about, and how I want to bring more of this into the corporate world. And the corporate world might not be ready yet for this, but I want to be a pioneer on that journey and focus my energy more and more and bringing leadership and spirituality together at this crossroad moment, and also historic moment. As you can see, there's so much happening now in the world. I feel that focusing my energy in this direction has brought also a shift. As me, I stepped, as you know, I stepped away from Adapta at the end of last year and decided to focus my energy in something that is very, very close to my heart, and bringing more or even deeper connection for leaders with their energy, sensing their own power, the power that sometimes we keep hidden from others, bringing a connection with something bigger than ourselves, even allowing ourselves to be guided by our intuition, which I feel is the voice of our higher self, and other guides, whatever other guides that we can have. And I say blowing people's minds in a way that they are open to understand that we are so much bigger than we think we are. We can do more than we think we can. We are so much more powerful, and stepping with more courage, myself and for others to step with more courage into this spirituality and leadership space, which I called awakened leadership.
Beautiful. I think, Carmen, you're doing amazing work there. Really, really beautiful and impactful space as well. One of your main ways of growing has been through collaboration. And I think a lot of our listeners would really love to know how you do that, how do you approach collaborations, and how has it been working for you?
Yes, as I mentioned, with Adapt, I collaborated for about 6 years, and it was not so much for me. It was never about the economic profit or the financial results of the business, but I looked at it through the lens of my heart. Is this work bringing us together for a greater good? Can we connect our energies, our knowledge, power, everything that we are, can we bring it together and create something bigger and greater for the others? So in service of the others. So I try to put in practice what I preach in a way, not always working, but connection with the heart for me as well, listening to the heart. In the same way when the completion of the journey came, I really had to go deep within and listen to my heart. It was also another moment when you say, okay, things are working well. Why would you change now? But it just feels that when the heart is calling, and if we are listening to it, then we follow that flow. Um, there's always the voice of the ego that will scare us away from these uncomfortable changes. It was my case as well, so it took me a while. I'm not a person who jumps very quickly into this kind of decisions. I let it really sink. I believe in the emotional wave, so I really have to sleep on it many nights before it really feels right. It feels right in the body that now is the moment. So I guess it's always listening to the heart. If we are looking to get into a partnership, search within. Are you together, the energies that you're bringing together, will you be more in service or of service to the world if you are bringing this energy into a collaboration? See what the heart says.
Yeah. And like you say, I believe all relationships have a time as well. Sometimes they're meant to last long, sometimes they're not meant to last that long. But there's a path that you were supposed to come in and do together and evolve and grow. And then you have your own journey and you move on from there. But I believe very much in looking at our energetic alignment. We know when we are disconnected, we know when it feels off. If anything is really draining you, then you move away from that. So, what's the vision for you now? What's your next chapter? What's the big thing that you're creating?
It's been so interesting because as I stepped away from the collaboration and the partnership that I was doing with Adapta, closing that chapter and really opening myself for what else is coming my way, or being open and guided to what's coming, new collaborations started to emerge. Different people reached out to me with possible collaborations. I just came back from Davos, where I was a speaker at the House of Consciousness, which is a topic so dear to my heart. And I was so inspired to find like-minded people there who want to bring more consciousness into the leadership, but not only into the business leadership, but into politics and into the leadership of our world. People with scientific backgrounds, but also with an openness towards spirituality and a deep understanding of our roots and connection with the soul. So I am, you caught me in a moment where I'm so inspired by meeting these people, listening to other speakers, sharing their view on the world. So really, really grateful. And this collaboration just, and I have to mention her name, Amber, was somebody who I met at a networking event, and she immediately, in about 2 weeks said, okay, I would like for you to join us as a speaker. And I trusted that. I just felt like, okay, it felt right. And again, we're coming back to that feeling of what does it feel in your heart? It's not so much like, does this make sense? But allow ourselves to trust the flow of life and be open to what's coming. So yeah, Amber and Ash were the organizers, and I'm so, so grateful for the opportunity. And I just finished another conversation with them on what's next. So we'll see what's coming up in terms of collaborations. But for me, I think you already know, I mentioned to you in the past, I launched a new website, or relaunched my old website with a new branding, and there was quite a lot of rediscovering of who am I today, 6 years later. Who am I? What do I want to share with the world? I decided to go for a community platform and an online course, which in the past I would have not considered. And I also thank people who have been amazing guidance, gave me amazing guidance to go into this direction, because I felt I wasn't ready yet. But there was something that really allow myself to express me more and connect with people in a different way. So um, a lot of good things are coming. I launched a Burnout as Awakening online program recently, so I think only before the end of the year. um, Yes, it's we will see. We will see what 2026 is bringing, but it's looking really promising.
Great work, great collaborations, and great job following your heart as well. You know, one of the things that really surprises me now, because I've been on both sides. So there was the engineer MBA part of me that used to feel that all this energetic stuff, all this talk about consciousness is just so woo woo, and I could not look at it, think about it rationally. It just did not make sense to me. And now I'm on the other side, really, really converted. And I think this is the bigger part. We're missing the big picture and we are actually focusing on the small dots and minimizing actually who we are, whereas we have infinite potential. So I see it from both sides. But now what I'm also realizing is that actually a lot of scientists, a lot of the greatest discoveries in the world, they've been made through imagination or thoughts pouring in. Albert Einstein would be one of the biggest advocates of imagination. I don't know how much he spoke about pure consciousness openly at that time and how much was really allowed for him, but there's so many quotes that we hear from him where he's really encouraging imagination and play to allow creativity and new discoveries to happen. So I think we misunderstand science sometimes. Science actually is a lagging indicator of what already is. Like gravity, for example, was already there, and we go, okay, well, now that we can prove it through science, so gravity exists. No, no, gravity existed. We discovered it later.
Yes, I so much agree with this. And um, what you said about imagination, I'm a firm believer that if we can imagine it, we are already starting the creation process. Creation, then, when you see it in your mind's eye and then you speak about it into the world, the process starts, and it's almost unstoppable. If you continue to give it the energy, you give it your love, other people get inspired by your creation, and the energy grows. So I um I would say visualization is one of the first steps. Visualizing how we can impact the world and how we can be of service to other people so they can do the same, how we can bring all this energy together. It's such a beautiful journey to be on.
Yeah, thank you so much, Carmen. So, how can people reach out to you? Where can they find you?
Okay, so you can find me the easiest on LinkedIn or on Instagram using my name, my full name, Carmen Balacianu. You'll find me there. I'm also on YouTube. I have it started as a live uh, sessions on LinkedIn, and now it's turning more into a podcast or a conversation with leaders who are on similar journeys. You can also reach out to me by looking at my website. I think you'll share the link and then just send me a message or get in contact. There are many ways. If you want to find me, for sure, you will find your way to me.
So, listeners, you have all the links in the show notes. Carmen is amazing, especially if you're looking for this intersection between leadership and spirituality. She's the person to go to because she has such a beautiful blend of energetic and strategic mindset that she can help with that cultural change in workplaces and your own lives. So, thank you so much, Carmen, for being here with us today. And listeners, thank you for tuning into this conversation. If you feel this inspired you, please go ahead, Also, share this with your friends, anything, anybody you feel might benefit from this. I'll see you next time with another episode.
Thank you, Kanika.
Thank you.